there's some pretty major threats to the aquarium industry right now, but having a good, strong pet industry association is what protects us. Because once again, the politicians, they don't care. All they care about, number one, is how it makes them look and how much effort it's going to be. For example, the PIAA gets submissions all the time about things that the politicians want to do. Most of the time, you just send back a really reasonable reply for why they shouldn't do that, and then you never hear of it again. But the thing is, if there's not a strong PIAA and those emails are not being answered, this is a problem. And I mean, that's why I get so frustrated when people are like, oh, I'm not joining the PIAA, what does it do for me? The fact you can sell fish means that it does everything for you. The PIAA has stopped, they were going to stop goldfish. They were going to stop all live bearers. They were going to stop guamis. They were going to stop all cichlids. They were going to stop aquatic plants. They were going to stop, recently they actually tried to stop all frozen foods. There's so many things that have been fought by the PIAA. And if there was no PIAA, they would not have the business they have today. And that's why it frustrates me when people in the industry are like, oh, what does it do for me? It's not there to do anything for you. It's there for the industry.
Yeah.
But everyone's got to look at the big picture. They've got to look at the industry and go, you know what? It's our industry. Let's own it.
Exactly.
If there's a rule that doesn't make sense, let's change it. Let's not just sit around and go, oh, why can't we import this? Why don't we put submissions in and get it imported? And let's not just listen to that stupid crap that they come up with. So you can see this is why I don't talk in the meetings. I leave that to Anthony. I get very distracted. I get very So he's much better. He's much more controlled than I am. I start going off. But yeah, so I really encourage everyone in the industry, whether you be a hobbyist. If you're a hobbyist, you can join the PIAA as an associate member. If you're a business, a retailer, a breeder, if you're anything, then you can't just leave the protection and advocacy of the industry to other people. You've got to take it yourself. Because
Kongs is an Australian brand which deal with like Echo One and stuff like that. Because the only reason I'm aware there's a Pet Industry Association in New Zealand is because it's even on the bottom of their invoices.
Okay.
Are they as involved in the Australian one as well?
Well, see, Kongs are a big supporter of the Pet Industry Association. And they've always been very proactive and very involved. They were always front and centre of all of our trade shows and all our various events. They're very good industry advocates. When the PIAA lost its way, the Kongs pulled out. So did Pet Pacific. We lost almost all of our backing because some very bad decisions were made through the PIAA, and it lost the support of the industry. Now, and to the point where it was advised by the auditors 1 year to close. Anyway, it had a office worth $1 million. They sold that. They used all the money on ineffective staff. Anyway, when I got involved, we ripped the whole thing apart. Anthony Ramsey, full credit to him, and we've turned it around. As of this year, it's now making a profit. It was losing almost $200,000 a year in losses, just through mismanagement. But now it's being managed very, very well. And basically, we need everyone in Australia to come back on board. We've got all the major players back now. Pet Pacific's back. Kongs are back. So we've done a lot of work. We've turned it around. It is now profitable. But once again, when you're dealing with these politicians, smoke and mirrors or perception is everything. If they think they're coming against a strong, well-funded, ready-to-fight organisation, they back down. Because they want to pass things easy. They don't want to put a lot of effort in. And for example, in Australia, the Animal Justice Party decided in their wisdom that they're going to pass a law that says if you have 6 dogs, you need a full-time staff member. Now, just to give you an idea, aged care is something like 1 per 13, children is something like 1 per 30, and dogs were 1 per 50. Now, we've negotiated down from the help of John Grimer from Kellyville Pets and the Pet Industry Association. We've raised literally hundreds of thousands of dollars and fought this through the courts, fought it through public perception, and we're basically winning. So, as it stands, the negotiation is going to go from 1 per 50 to 1 per 30, which the industry says, you know what, it sucks, but we can have a business with this. Imagine a dog hotel if they need 1 full-time staff member per 6 dogs. It's just, it means every single company would trade illegally, and they wanted to put more emphasis on the policing of this. So they would make it a big revenue-raising thing, and it would destroy the whole industry. And if they destroy the dogs, don't think they're not going to come after fish. You bet they're going to come after fish. So the Pet Industry Association is currently fighting this fight, and it is currently winning. We're currently discussing the grey list, and we're fairly confident, but we'll wait and see how that goes. There's also quarantine laws that we're involved in, including getting aquacultured fish allowed to be imported into Australia. So currently it's illegal to import an aquacultured fish. Why? If we can prove it's aquacultured, why can't we bring it in here? What's the environmental threat on something that's aquacultured? So there's a whole lot of stuff so the thing is, you've got to have a strong association. And I really believe New Zealand, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. because I know you've got a whole bunch of dumb laws. Somebody made those dumb laws up. And it's up to you guys to get your act together, get behind a strong association, find a smart, good-looking figurehead like Anthony Ramsey, and get these stuff changed. You got to own your industry. You got to be in control of it. And the only way this is going to happen is united. United, we all, we stand. Divided, we all fall. I mean, even that's another thing. I'm getting sidetracked again. I got the privilege of getting to sit down and read the Master Pet study. Master Pet spent something like, I'm going to say $1 million, could be $50, but who cares? I'm not a details guy, by the way. I'm a big picture guy, so quote me all you want. But I'm a big picture. Just get the idea with what I'm saying more than the figures. Anthony is great for details. And by the way, my wife's a lawyer, so yeah. So like, I tell stories which to harness the story, and I try not to let facts, get too much in the way of the direction of my story. And my wife would be, nah, that was a Wednesday. Like she's so, her mind is unbelievably good for detail, and so is Anthony's, by the way. So you got to surround yourself with people with different strengths. But anyway, so I got to sit down and read this study that MasterPet spent a huge amount of money on. And in some area, let's say Melbourne, right? All the aquarium shops hate each other. They don't work together. In Sydney, which I'd like to claim some responsibility for, true or not, we all work together. We're all friends. But the thing is that when I got to read this MasterPet study, basically there's two main parts to the study. The first part was, why would someone think about getting a fish? And there's all these percentages. I watched Finding Nemo, my friend had one, I went to the Great Barrier Reef, I went to Sydney Aquarium, all these different reasons why they think about getting a fish. And then there was, why did they get a fish? And it was something like 60% was, I was standing in an aquarium shop. I was looking at an aquarium that I could imagine in my home. So the most important thing about having a retail shop is having a beautiful display tank, not in a system, but
standalone.
They can imagine it. So you've got to have it. You've got to have it in, like, just so they go, oh, I can imagine that in my house.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Then the next thing they worked out is, why would someone think about getting rid of tank? The kids moved out. I got sick of it. There are all these reasons why they'd think about getting rid of a tank. And then the reason why they'd get rid of it, and it was something like 60%, was I had a problem, and I didn't know who to go to help me fix the problem. Now, so if you're an aquarium shop, I honestly believe that you tell all your customers, if you have a problem, you come and see me with a sample of water and a video of the tank running. And I want to see all your bits and pieces. What's the quality of the fish food? What's this? What's that? Are you feeding processed crap? I didn't finish that last story just quickly. I go to people's houses. One person has got a tank with beautiful fish and terrible water. Then I open the cupboard, and sure enough, there's the food. Danichi, or, that's how I find out what the quality of food's like. Then I go to the very next house, and all their fish are dying. And I test the water. It's nowhere near as bad as the first person. But I open up the cupboard, and there's cheap crap. So that over, like 30 years of consultations makes me learn what are the good foods, and are one of the reasons why I'm biased towards certain foods. So that aside. So basically, if you want to have a good business, you need to have amazing display tanks. Obviously, you need a clean shop. You need it well presented. You need it well priced. You need it clean. That's a whole other seminar I could do on how to have a good aquarium business. I've had mine since 1999. And so therefore, having display tanks that people can imagine in their home, and then also being able to offer advice so people can come to you, and all they want to know, if they've lost their fish, they just want to know why and how they can make sure it doesn't happen again. So if you go, hey, look, dude, all your fish died, that's your problem, don't do that again, and your fish will be fine, they'll be upset, they'll fix it, they'll come back and buy fish. So it's the aquarium shops that start the business, and it's the aquarium shops that keep the business. Now, the next part of the study that MasterPet did is they actually mapped out where all of the customers are. Now, another friend of mine who runs, I shouldn't say the name, but the main fish online thing, he also verifies this by saying where there's a good aquarium shop is where most of his customers are. And this guy ships fish right over Australia, but basically he found that all of the good areas are where the good shops are. And that's not a coincidence. You put a good shop there, that's where all the customers become. So what he found is, let's say there's two areas. Let's say one is Lismore and one's Goulburn. It probably wasn't knowing me, but let's say that those two. And they both got the same access to the internet. They both got pet barn and pet stock. They both got the same socio-economic outlook, except one area has a good aquarium shop. Now, in the area with a good aquarium shop, 17% of the population keep fish. In the area without a good aquarium shop, 2% of the population keep fish. Now, that is the scope of how important aquarium shops are. It's unbelievable. And your big box pet shops, they're not cutting it. It's someone with passion and real knowledge that cuts it. So if you want to grow the industry, you all work together. Now, the other thing they found is 20 minutes is how far people are prepared to travel for a regular aquarium shop. So if you have my shop and one 20 minutes away, 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 you've got a healthy area. Because the people an hour away, they'll come and visit me occasionally, and they'll buy stuff occasionally, but I'm not their regular point of service. And only a very small percentage, something like 9 or 10%, will rely online.